Hey, Tegan.
Do you want to hear something weird about something called the Blood Falls?
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Well, that was a very quick episode. Thank you for listening to Weird Tech.
Fine. You've researched it. I need to give you your time.
I'm sorry that you can't get out of it this easily. I am a bad friend because I did know that Ray does not love things to do with water, let alone spooky
Mm,
water, but we are doing
mm.
Spooktober, so sorry, Ray.
So you
So
decided to
firstly,
scare me. Thank you.
yeah, sorry. Now, firstly, I wanted to shout out Gio Rutherford, who is an amazing TikToker and also now author who has a book coming out called Spooky Lakes because she has
Ooh.
this amazing series on TikTok called Spooky Lakes, which is, I mean, I guess the
Oh
name kind of gives it away.
gosh.
It's awesome. You'd hate it.
I would. It sounds like a nightmare. That's like I subscribe to the Thessalophobia, I think it's called. I've never said it out loud. Subreddit,
I
which
don't
is
know
all
that
about
word.
it's all about people that are really, really scared of deep dark water. And for some reason I'm on
Oh.
the subreddit. I don't know why. It's like a self-hatred thing. I don't understand it, but it's just people being like
It-
it's people being like looking at pictures of the wreck of the Titanic and stuff and then being like, look how awful this is. Imagine going in there. That would suck. And I'm like, yes, it would. I think it's because everyone hates the deep, dark things in the water.
It's scary. It's scary. But I feel like this is almost like immersion therapy for you, but not actually going in the water, just looking at
Absolutely.
it.
There's a
Mhm, mhm.
purpose.
Okay. Well, let's do that to you right now. Ray,
Oh,
the Blood Falls, I'm so sorry about the name, but you'll understand why. They're located in Antarctica, and which is a place that I've always found inherently creepy, by the way. Like it's that
well,
place is all
yeah.
right.
No, it's so remote. It's so isolated. Could you imagine how quiet it would be? You'd just hear the
Yeah.
ice. And scientists that I've
Oh.
spoken to that have spent a lot of time on either of the Arctic circles, actually, they're weird when they come out of there.
Oh,
Okay, we've gone off on a tangent. Tell me about the terrible
we
lake with
have.
the
I'm so
terrible
sorry.
blood falls.
Okay. Luckily, in this one, it's not actually a lake, so that is something. So I'm sorry for lying about that. But this is in Antarctica, and I'm going to actually get you to Google Blood Falls so you can actually look at
Mm,
it. It's important so you have a
okay.
visual.
So I have to Google
Yeah.
this. Do I also have to Google afterwards? Please don't arrest me. I'm a journalist, like I do after some things
Yeah.
I
Oh no,
Google.
I think you're okay. I think you're all right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, it looks like blood. It looks like so you've got this big white ice shelf, it looks like, with maybe a bit of land under it. I don't know if that's land. And like seeping out of the ice looks like a river of blood. This looks horrifying.
Yes, it does. And you're actually right. There is landmass there because even though it's in Antarctica, one of the driest places on Earth, hasn't seen rain in over 2 million years, there are places on it that isn't completely covered in ice, including around this area. But you're right. It looks like the glacier is bleeding. It's called Taylor Glacier. And it's not just the color that's weird here, Ray. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
So I'm
Is it
sorry. This gets
cursed?
weird. It could be cursed. I'll let
Okay,
you make
great.
up your mind about
Great.
this, and everyone
Yeah.
can make up their mind. So the water coming out is super, super salty, like 2 to 3 times saltier than the ocean. And
Mm.
scientists are only really now recently starting to figure out what's going on here. And it turns out it's a lot more complicated than it looks. More complicated than it looking like blood somehow.
Okay, so it's super salty water that's coming out. They don't know why it's super salty.
Oh,
And
they do. They're getting there now. It was just for a long time. It was just like, what is going on here?
what is happening? And yeah, okay. But the reason that it's turning red, that seems like something we definitely would have figured out a while ago, right?
We figured that out now. So why is it red? Great question. So here's what's happening. About 3 million years ago, some seawater actually got trapped under this glacier. So it's actually a whole lake
Oh.
under there. And so basically what's happened is that it's gotten trapped, but because it's so salty, it doesn't freeze at the same temperature that normal fresh water would. And so it's formed this brine. So when it starts to freeze, it releases heat, which is what's keeping the water flowing even though it's trapped under all of this ice.
That's incredible. That is super cool. This isn't creepy at all. This is lovely. I like this.
You're like, this is amazing.
It really is.
So, damn it, we've unscared Ray.
I am somehow not scared of a giant sub-ice saltwater lake. You've done it, Tegan.
That scares me more, so I don't know what's going on with you. So basically this thing has about 400 meters of ice on top of it, which is why the water only seeps out through these small little cracks, because it only gets, it's not like it's flowing like a full-on waterfall. But like you asked, why does it look like blood? And it's actually a very, very simple reason. It's iron. So the water on the glacier, super rich in iron, and so when it finally actually escapes, it hits the air, which hits
oxidizes,
the
right?
Oxygenizes,
Yes.
and it turns to rust. It rusts it.
It's rusty.
It's super salty.
They're rusty waterfalls. Oh, wow.
Yeah, rusty waterfalls.
Incredible. I wonder what that's done to the ecosystem in the area, like the types of plants and animals that would live there, because the chemical structure of both the air and the water and the land, even if it's sitting on the rocks and everything, would be entirely different to anywhere else in that area.
I'm so glad that you brought this up, Ray. So, in the general area, I'm not sure, but underneath, in Old Make Salty Lake, underneath the glacier, there's apparently a ton of bacteria that's living in this glacier that's been isolated from the rest of the world for millions of years. So those microbes are what makes this, it's what makes it so interesting, because they've survived in total darkness in freezing conditions with no oxygen, which means that instead of breathing like we do, they apparently use sulfate to metabolize iron.
Oh, wow. This is the amount of things that we think that we know about our planet that we discover because of ocean areas is terrifying.
The oceans, it's so scary, and it gets even a little bit weirder. So number one, this kind of process has never been observed in nature before.
Fantastic, great, normal.
Right, great, just normal, not normal things. We love
cool
it.
And normal. Yep, great.
Cool and normal. Well, it is cool. It's very cold.
It's very cool.
Because the bacteria are using iron and sulfate in this like really weird way, normally when you have iron and sulfate in water like this, you would see a chemical called sulfide forming.
Yes.
Which is sort of that, that smelly stuff that smells like rotten eggs that you would have in science class. The blood falls don't smell, even though you would think they should. And that's because the bacteria are using the sulfate and iron to create energy, apparently. So they're basically breathing in a way that doesn't need that oxygen, which is rare. And so scientists are trying to figure out why, and trying to work out, okay, how are these microbes basically thriving in this darkness and freezing temperatures with no oxygen? How have they created this weird little ecosystem? And could we use that to work out how we could live in places like frozen moons or other planets? Like, how could we sort of research this?
Yeah. How do we capitalize on this knowledge to help us survive on distant planets? Absolutely. Let's find out. While also, no, I do not want to live in those environments. Oh, I'd be so depressed.
Yeah. I like sunshine and happiness,
personally.
Yeah.
Big fan of those two things. Yes. This
Me
is
too.
fascinating, Tegan. This is so good.
Isn't it? So cool. And one last little thing on this. Ray, have you heard of the snowball Earth hypothesis?
Snowball Earth. It rings a bell, but I don't know off the top of my head. I have wrung out my sponge brain after learning that, and there's the residue of the name has existed, but not the information. So please tell me.
Sure. So it's that idea that millions of years ago, the Earth might have actually been completely covered in ice, including the equator.
Yes.
So some scientists think that the blood falls could help us understand how life might have survived during that time if it was true, sealed under layers of ice, if these bacteria can, like I kind of already said, live in these extreme conditions. And yeah, what we could learn from that. So pretty cool.
That's incredible. Oh, that is so cool. Thank you so much for sharing your your weird, fun science, spooky lake waterfall thing with me, Tegan. How do you categorize
You are
this?
so welcome. We do what we want, Ray. I'm glad that you weren't scared about it in the end. That's nice.
Look, not scared about its existence. Do not wish to tunnel through the ice, through the falls to the lake, or be in it. Don't want to
No,
be in the
I'm
lake.
good. No.
Yeah. There are people who would want that though, and they are broken in a way that I am not.
Yeah, those are the people that end up in weird caverns, like weird
Oh,
cave divers, which there are some spooky lakes episodes about that. So we could do that. I chose specifically not to because there was one in Australia, but I knew you would get too upset.
I can't do it. I can't do the cave diving people. It's too much. I need access to air.
No.
I need ready access to air.
Yeah, I understand. On a last thing, Ray, do you want to hear about one more lake that does a weird salty thing? It's not scary. So, this is another one that you can see over at the Spooky Lates TikTok. But essentially, there is Lake Balkash, which is in Kazakhstan, and it is half saltwater, half freshwater.
Oh, like in layers.
No, not the layers, because that's what like the Black Sea is like.
Yes.
Good shout. But no, not in layers. Actually,
Oh.
like down the, it's probably not quite the middle, but down the middle, half salt, half freshwater.
Oh, wow. Getting my head around that is funny because like I understand the layers because salt water is more viscous than fresh water or
Yeah.
the other way around. Yes, no, that is right. Yes, because salt water is more viscous than fresh water, so that it naturally separates. But to be even like down the middle, that doesn't I don't know. I don't know how that one works.
Do you want to hear how it works?
Yes, it's weird.
It is weird. So there is a river that flows into the west side of the lake, which is the freshwater side. And this river accounts for about 80% of all of the fresh water that flows into this lake.
Yep.
And then it flows over to the east side, which is the salty side that doesn't have an outlet for the water.
Right.
And so the water evaporates, which leaves behind dissolved salts. And the reason that you're like, okay, but why doesn't it go back the other way then? What's going on here? There's a peninsula in the middle of this. Again, maybe not the middle, but it's there, which stops the eastern side where it's salty flowing back into the freshwater side.
That's incredible. Again, I think about the animal life and the plant life that would be coexisting in such a close proximity to each other, but half of them are saltwater and half of them are freshwater. That's cool. Imagine you go like freshwater fishing for certain things that are better freshwater, then you go saltwater fishing for things that are better saltwater.
100%. And I think that they certainly do. But sadly, like so many things in nature, climate change and also overfishing as well has really damaged the ecology of that lake as well. And it's silting up a little bit. So it's getting quite drudgy. Which is very sad.
The silting is a real issue for any kind of waterways that are downstream from where there's a lot of deforestation, logging, land degradation, all that soil and water. Yeah, it just flushes into the waterways. And you end up with, even in the mountains, where I am, you get a lot of water holes that are filling up really slowly with just silt and runoff from all the creeks and the rivers. And it's a real shame. You got to actually dig out the silt. There's full expeditions to dig out the silt bucket by bucket to be able to maintain these water holes.
Well, now I've learned something. Well, thank you for letting me Uno reverse you a little bit, Ray. Usually you're the scientist of the two of us. I hope I did it justice. I hope I didn't scare you too much, but thank you for letting me to cross over a little bit.
You have unlocked a new fear, which is being trapped in a saltwater lake under ice. No, existed previously, so that's awful. But I'm really glad that I learned about the blood falls because that's super cool with the oxidization of the iron content. Like, that's incredible. Our planet is beautiful. Thank you, Tegan.